Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So it's been a little bit since I uploaded a video, and that is because I actually ended up catching COVID. So I spent a lot of time just in my room in bed because, wow. But while I was in bed, I was able to watch a lot of movies because I had a lot of time. So I wanted to let you guys in on what I watched while I had COVID. Um, because I didn't feel that great, I didn't watch a lot of new movies that I hadn't seen before. I actually watched a lot of older movies that I had already seen because, sometimes when you don't feel awesome, it's harder to pay attention to things. So I wanted to make sure that I saved most of the new movies that I still have on my watch list for when I actually felt well enough to watch them and pay attention. So these were just kind of movies that mostly feel good movies, or at least movies that make me feel good. But there were a couple of new watches for me that didn't take a lot of attention and where I already kind of knew what the story was. So I was able to actually watch those and be very thoroughly entertained, none the least, right? And so I wanted to just let you guys in on what I watched during COVID. So the first movie that I watched was actually a new watch for me. This is called I, Tanya, and it is about the figure skater Tanya Harding. When I was young, I thoroughly remember the whacking, right? We watched and went to a lot of figure skating events when I was a kid because we lived in Europe and figure skating was a big deal over there for some reason, and it was a big deal especially during this time period. And I remember Nancy Kerrigan getting whacked. So I always wanted to check out this movie just to see how they portrayed Tanya Harding and how they portrayed the whacking. And I was not let down. This might have been more entertaining than the actual event, because the actual event is very sad for both parties. But this was a very, very, very entertaining movie. Margot Robbie, who plays Tanya Harding, she does a great job in this movie, and I laughed. I was like, oh, that's sad, but I still laughed. So if you haven't checked this one out, this was a new watch for me. I picked this up at Big Lots for like 75 cents. So this was a new watch for me, but I did already know the story, and it was a very, very entertaining movie. I think it is streaming somewhere. I can't be certain. Don't ask me those questions. But if you want to check this out, this again is called I, Tanya. All right, another great one. This one is called Sausage Party. I've seen this movie a lot, but for some reason I didn't own this movie, and I didn't realize that I didn't own it until I was, again, in Big Lots when I picked up I, Tanya. I saw this in there, and I checked my list, and I was like, man, I can't believe I don't own Sausage Party as many times as I've seen it. So I went ahead and picked this up, and I did give it a watch. It's crude humor. It's not, this is not an Academy Award winning animated film. This is not Toy Story or Beauty and the Beast, all right? It's just crude humor, but it has a good premise. It asks a lot of existential questions within that crude humor. So if you're wondering why we're all here and what the bigger picture is, give Sausage Party a watch. And if you're not easily offended, this is a good entertaining movie for you. All right, next up is Tales from the Hood. Now, this was a movie that I watched a lot when I was a kid. A friend of mine had the VHS and would bring it over, and we'd pop it in and watch it. In retrospect, geez, we were just watching things we probably shouldn't have been. But I really enjoyed this movie, and this was something that was good to watch while I wasn't feeling so great, because it's an anthology, so it's a lot of short little segments broken down to then form one large story. So I hadn't seen this in quite some time actually. And so this was a good watch for me while I wasn't feeling great. It brought back a lot of good memories, and it still actually holds up very, very well today. Great social commentary. It's a must watch if you haven't seen it. Okay, so now we have Bridge of Spies. Now this has my boy Tom Hanks in it. Everybody knows Tom Hanks is like one of my favorite actors of all time. He probably is. Okay, I won't say he is my favorite actor. One of my favorite actors of all time. There are a couple of people who are up there that rank right above him, but Tom Hanks is one of my favorite actors of all time. I picked up this movie a few years ago, and I watched it then, and I didn't finish it. So I thought, okay, this will be a good time to watch this again. And since I kind of already know what the plot is, it'll be easy to follow. And then I fell asleep. So this is one that I still haven't seen all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces, and I am actually gonna have to give this one another watch. It was kind of long, so I probably won't get to it soon. It'll probably be like a month or two before I give this one another shot. It won't be a year or two, but it'll be like a month or two before I give this one another try. All right. The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. Now, for this one, I had not seen this one before. I had heard a lot about it, both good things and bad things. I know it is also streaming. I think you can see this one on Prime if you're interested. I liked the premise, but overall, just a little bit, the movie let me down at the end. I think I was hoping for a little more than I got, but at the same time, I give kudos to the makers of this movie. This was you don't see a lot of movies about young black girls who are kind of more interested in like the STEM area of education. So I thoroughly enjoyed the main character as a character. I liked her motivations. I liked how she handled herself in her classroom. And I liked what her ultimate goal was. But just a little bit at the end, this movie did kind of let me down. But that's not to say that it's going to let you down. You could absolutely love the ending of this movie, because I think a lot of people probably will and probably have. Just for me, there was just something missing, and I know what it was, but I can't tell you because I don't want to like skew your opinion one way or the other. But give this a watch. This is definitely one, like, if you like horror movies and you love black horror, give this a watch, definitely. Alrighty. Okay, so next up we have Gone Girl. Now, I've seen this movie a lot. I know it's based on a book, and I have not read the book because I saw the movie first, and then I was like, I'm not going back and reading the book. I got enough books to read, so I didn't go back and read this book. But I enjoy this movie. Ben Affleck, Neil Patrick Harris. I love Neil Patrick Harris. I enjoy Ben Affleck more as a director than I do an actor, but hey, it's whatever. So this movie is always a great watch for me. No matter how many times I see it, I still get all the feels. I get all the anger. I get all the, how can she? So if you've never seen Gone Girl, it is about a woman who goes missing on her and her husband's anniversary. Her husband reports her missing. The police investigate and ultimately begin to believe that he is the reason she's missing, that he has kidnapped her, murdered her, something of the sort. But that's not really what's going on. And as you watch, you come to find out that there's a whole layer to this woman that people are crazy, yo. There's a whole layer to this woman that is just straight out of this world. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it right now. So the next movie that I watched is 42. It is the story of Jackie Robinson, starring Chadwick Boseman. And I watched this one because the 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 anniversary of Chadwick's passing was recently, and I don't know. Like, some people, like, this was the first movie I saw with him in it, and I was like, man, this guy is going places. And I feel like we were all. I mean, I know we all feel like we were robbed of the greatness that he could have achieved, but um sometimes people are here for a short time, and in that short time he did so much. And he did so much for people. He touched people he didn't even know, like me. So I think this movie, I watched this movie is a great story about Jackie Robinson. If you don't know the story about Jackie Robinson, or of Jackie, how could you not? But if you don't know it, watch the movie. And if you do know it, give the movie another watch anyway. Why not? Last up is The Blackening. Now, I saw this movie in theaters, and I thought it was pretty funny. I think what they were able to accomplish was great. And not only do I think it was great what they were able to accomplish, I appreciate the nods to the culture. I think that we don't have enough black horror films that kind of acknowledge that we don't have enough black horror films. And I think this movie did a good job of kind of being tongue-in-cheek in a way, but maintaining a not a serious plot, but a plot that is plausible for a horror movie. And I got good laughs out of it. I related to it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Is it, it's not Shakespeare, but it's good for what it is. And I think that, everybody should definitely give this a watch, support it. I don't know if it's streaming. If it is streaming, check it out. If you don't want to check it out, you can pick up the steelbook. This is actually a steelbook in a slipcase. It's pretty nice. I think Lionsgate put this out. Wasn't very expensive. It was like $25, which is what, the price of a movie ticket nowadays? Probably not. I don't know. So, give it a watch. If you like it, great. If you don't, you've wasted plenty of time on other things, right? So, with that said, those were the movies that I watched while I was sick in bed. That's all I have for you guys today. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate you watching, liking, subscribing, doing all the things that you're doing in support of what I'm trying to do. See you guys next time, right?